Thank you for watching Name and Occupation in Depth. We come to you every single week. Now don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the content.
So we're back, the food segment, and Chris has a special surprise for us. What'd you work on this weekend, Chris?
Well, we made that Saturday, I guess I did that. And so it's funny because I really had to fight my urge to clean out my crisper and put like my zucchini and red pepper and whatever else. I was talking to Terry, and no, if we're gonna do French Canadian, it has to be the classic, just meat and onions with corn and onions and potatoes, right? And that's what the pâté chinois is all about. And basically, it was a poor man's meal, right? It was a poor man's meal that we pretty much all had often. And to this day, I love shepherd's pie. Like, I love it. Brings me right back to my youth. Exactly. So basically, the beef, cook it off. Be mindful not to season it too much because there's a lot of liquid that you're gonna get rid of, right? So season it a little, but then you season it more after, and you get all those. I put it in the onions raw, beef raw, cook it all together, boom, boom, then season it, give some nice juice, some nice flavor, throw it in the pan, and then boom, boom, good to go. Then you do some onions with the corn over there, potatoes. I didn't picture them being boiled, but everybody can grasp what that's all about. Right there, they have the butter and the cream and the seasoning and salt and the pepper, all good to go. So everything was about to get mashed up. Corn was all ready. And I also had to make a point of taking pictures. I often forget, right? So, right?
Yeah, that's some art, man. This piece of art.
Beautiful. I like the crisscross. That's like beautiful right there.
Oh yeah, we aim to please.
And let me ask you this, Chris. Like, are those chunks of onion right there?
Oh yeah.
The white? Yeah. I think I put 2-3 onions in there. Oh yeah.
No way.
Oh, I love onion. Can't go wrong with that. Oh yeah.
Like once it sautés in there and it caramelizes.
Right. Absolutely. Just get
That's what I'm talking about. Good
big old pan of flavor. Absolutely.
Pâté chinois was like when they were creating the railroads across Canada, they would make that because that's available. You got all your protein, you got your carbs.
It's a proper meal. You got your vegetables with the corn.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Gives you energy too. Corn gives you lots of energy. Like, is there like a special time during the year that you would make a pâté chinois or not really?
All for me.
All
or
I remember it all year round, man, basically.
Well,
all year round.
We have to talk about poutine.
Oh, poutine. The poutine, guys.
The invention of the poutine is just, of all the food I miss of Canada, poutine is like the number one. Poutine is like a very French Canadian thing. It comes out of Quebec. Curds from Saint Albert.
And it all started with sauce on the fries. And some Joe had the brilliant idea of, hey, let's throw some curds in there with that sauce.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was a game changer. Absolute game changer. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a purist, and I can never. Every time I take a Philly poutine or this kind of poutine, I always go back to the traditional.
La cabane au sucre,
There's nothing more Quebecer, more French Canadian than that.
Absolutely.
So I worked for cabane au sucre for a year too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it was one of my uncles who had it, kind of helped out. And used to go help him out. One spring I went. So the maple sap only comes in the spring when the temperature of the maple tree, so the temperature outside has to be above 0 in the day and below 0 at night, because if not, the sap is not as good and doesn't last as long. So, when it gets hot in the day, you gotta take all those buckets of the sap and put in in a trailer that has a big container and then go back and forth. And as you can see, it's in the middle of the woods. So there's a lot of walking in deep snow or snowshoeing, and cut the wood and be able to burn, keep the fireplace going in the furnace to be able to, evaporate the water from the sap. So that's their 40-to-1 ratio, right? But it was a great experience. It's a great thing, great outdoors. It's a beautiful day, and
It's not all the maples, right? Just the sugar maples that you would tap?
Correct. Just there's different types of maples, but yeah, it's just the sugar maple.
Forefathers discovered a really good thing, right?
If you ever come to Canada, guys, you have to check out this stuff in the winter, man. Like summer's great in Canada, but winter too, there's all kinds of stuff you'll never experience anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Chef Francesco.
So we're trying out today like something cool, yeah.
Who's making the tourtière?
So I'm making a tourtière. So you probably saw me cooking and stuff. So that way I'm trying to get it done for the end of the segment for later on. But it's tourtière. It's French Canadian. So tourtière was founded all the way back to the 1600 here in Canada, when the French Québécois settlers, in Quebec, would bring at the midnight mass. So on December 24th, they would go to church. And then that's one of the meal, including pâté chinois and ragout de pâte, mashed potatoes, peas and corn. You got the corn itself. So they would make all these meals to bring at the midnight mass, because after the mass, they would have what's called a réveillon. Réveillon is for a big meal. Drinking. Yeah, drinking, smoking. And it's a big meal that would be late night, after midnight. And it usually set up for a feast for the king. You got lots of food, the family gets together and they party pretty much all night. And then the kids would open the gifts and everything at like 1 a.m. almost on the December 24th. So the tourtière that I made, it's a little bit of a mixture of my grandmother's recipe and also more towards a lac Saint-Jean, which they're really well known for their tourtière. So I kind of made my own a little bit. Yeah, mixed meats and stuff. So what I used, I can tell you guys quickly, Daisy had the slide there. So it's 2 pie crust. I mean, I could try to make the pie crust, but I'm a warm-blooded guy. The pie crust, I can never get it right. So I just buy the pre-made ones at the store. So 2 pie crusts, so it makes you 1 pie, 1 top and bottom. You might double that. So because 1 pound of ground beef pork, 1 pound of ground beef, 1 onion, finely chopped, a garlic clove, half a cup of water. So you put all that together, cook it on the cast iron like Chris showed when he did his pâté chinois. You cook all your meat together, 1 to 1.5 teaspoon of salt. And then what you do, you put 2 cups of peeled potatoes and you cube them in little pieces. So that's where the lac Saint-Jean tradition comes into. So it gives you a little bit more carbs into it. Teaspoon of dried chopped thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. It's also kind of like they call it sometimes Jamaican spice or pimenta dioca. Yeah. And the tourtière appeared in the one of the first French Canadian book recipe in 1840 that was published in Canada. Wow. So, and it was a lot of controversy, but because there's so many, everybody had their own traditions and had their own culture, different meats, different spices. So like rabbit, pheasant, and moose, which the lac Saint-Jean
even bear, some bear.
Yeah, and bear. Well, yeah, because this is what we had abundance of in Canada in the 1600s, right? So lac Saint-Jean, they use a big pot, very, very tall pot, and they make layers. So they put the crust the pie crust all around, and then they put the meat, and then they put another pie crust, and then they put all. So you have a very, very tall tourtière.
You said they used to do that deep in a deep pot.
They still do, yeah. It's pretty
layered with.
It's different, but so they layer it. They put a lot of broth and different things like beer, broth, but they still use the pheasant, the moose, or the the bear.
So do they put the dough only on the top and the bottom, or do they put some in the middle?
They do also layers because as you're going down, you're getting more different meats.
Come on.
And also, it's crazy. But the problem with that, it's like an 8 to 9 hours cooking time because you have to get up in the middle of the night and add more broth or wine or beer, whatever ingredients, because you don't want it to dry. But I've never done it. I don't want to challenge myself to do it.
No.
I probably will do it once.
My mom is. I wonder what she's gonna say when we call her about Tourtière.
She's like in big trouble.
She's a queen of Tourtière. Like it's a huge thing with my mom and my sister.
Well, it's special.
Yeah.
So when we could try it out. So all the meat is cooked. So usually you freeze it, and put it aside. So
it's gonna get teleported to you via the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So this is one that's now cooked in the oven. This is the one that just cooked in the oven, and it looks pretty cooked. I just want to make sure it's not too. No, it's perfect. You guys want to plate this guy or show you what it would look like?
Yeah,
knows what it's all about.
So
it's all about.
They would have also served with this. They would have mashed potatoes.
I don't know, but I love the ketchup. I love my tortillas with ketchup.
It's very popular.
Mm-hmm.
So traditional peas and corn, and then you would have the potatoes, and then just in a few more minutes, but
check out Frank.
Oh yeah, look at you.
All right, guys.
Bravo.
Cool. Yeah, I shared it already on Twitter, the recipe and all of our stories.
Fantastic.
At DMI07 days. I'm going to have to change that Twitter handle.
Right.
That's a long one.
Right?
So get your pen and paper, kids.